Hello everyone, welcome back to Remind, knowledge sharing channel self-development through good books. This week, I want to share with you an incredibly valuable book.
The Day I Stopped Believing in Natural Talent. Let me take you back to a moment that changed everything for me, and I promise it can change everything for you too. For most of my life, whenever I saw someone perform at an unreal level, a violinist making an instrument cry, a chess player seeing 20 moves ahead, a speaker holding 10,000 people spellbound, I had the same quiet thought. I could never do that. They were born special. I wasn't. Then I read Peak by Anders Ericsson and Robert Poole, and within the first 50 pages, my entire worldview cracked wide open. After 30 years of rigorous scientific research on the highest performers in every imaginable field, music, sports, medicine, memory, mathematics, aviation, you name it, Ericsson delivered a message so clear and so liberating that it felt like someone had handed me the keys to a door I thought was welded shut. There is no evidence, none, that world-class ability requires rare genetic gifts. What it does require is a very specific kind of practice that literally anyone can do. That book didn't just give me information, it gave me hope. And today I want to hand that same hope to you, along with the exact roadmap Ericsson spent his life drawing. By the time you finish reading this, you will never again look at an impossible skill and think, that's not for me. Part 1. You are not nearly as far from genius as you've been told. When the word genius is spoken, most of us picture Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. At age 7, he was already touring Europe playing for kings and queens. At age 4, he possessed perfect pitch, the ability to name any note he heard or detect the tiniest off-key tone, a gift so rare that only about 1 in 10,000 people ever develop it. For centuries, Mozart has been the poster boy for the idea that genius is something you're born with, a magical spark the rest of us simply don't have. But here's the truth that turned my world upside down. Mozart didn't become Mozart because he was born Mozart. He became Mozart because he had a father, Leopold Mozart, who was one of the finest music educators in Europe. Leopold had already spent years teaching Wolfgang's older sister, Nannerl, who herself became a brilliant pianist. By the time little Wolfgang came along, Leopold had refined his teaching method to near perfection. From the moment Wolfgang could reach a keyboard, he was immersed in deliberate, focused, feedback-rich training day after day after day. By the time the world saw the child prodigy on stage, he had already logged thousands of hours of the highest quality practice anyone had ever designed for a child. Another legend is Niccolò Paganini, the violinist nicknamed the Devil's Violinist, because during one concert, 3 of his 4 strings snapped and he finished the piece flawlessly on the single remaining string. People swore he must have sold his soul. The romantic reality? Paganini had fallen madly in love and composed a breathtaking love duet for just 2 strings, mimicking a lover's conversation. He practiced that piece obsessively. When the accident happened on a stage, he simply switched to the love duet he already knew by heart. What looked like superhuman improvisation was actually the fruit of months of passionate, purposeful practice. Ericsson studied hundreds of these stories: violinists, pianists, athletes, memory champions, surgeons, pilots, and found the same pattern every single time. The miracles were never miracles. They were the predictable result of a very specific kind of training that the public almost never gets to see. The media loves mystery, promoters love drama, and so the boring, sweaty, frustrating years of practice are edited out. We are left believing that greatness just happens to a lucky few. The single common denominator among every world-class performer Ericsson studied was deliberate practice. And the most electrifying discovery of all? Deliberate practice is a skill that any healthy human being can learn. Your starting point doesn't matter nearly as much as most people think. What matters is how you practice from this day forward. Part 2. The 4 non-negotiable rules of deliberate practice. Ignore any one of them and you stay ordinary. Here's something painful but true. Most of us practice wrong. We pick up a guitar, take a few lessons, learn a couple of chords, play those same chords for years, and wonder why we never sound like Eric Clapton. We go to the driving range, hit a bucket of balls the same way we always have, and wonder why our handicap never drops. We give presentations the same way for a decade and wonder why we still get nervous. Erickson's research revealed why this happens. The moment a skill becomes good enough, an automatic further repetition produces almost zero improvement. A doctor with 20 years of experience can easily be worse than a doctor with 5 if the veteran has simply been coasting on autopilot. The same is true for teachers, lawyers, programmers, and athletes. To escape the plateau and move toward true excellence, you must switch from naive practice to deliberate practice. Deliberate practice has 4 absolute non-negotiable requirements. 1, you must have a specific, well-defined goal. Get better is not a goal. Be able to play Stairway to Heaven flawlessly at 120 BPM by December 31st is a goal. Increase my free throw percentage from 68% to 85% this season is a goal. The best performers always break the big dream into tiny, measurable micro goals and attack them one by one. In one famous experiment, an ordinary college student started able to recall only 7 random digits, normal adult level. By setting the concrete goal of adding just 1 extra digit at a time and designing specific techniques for each new level, he eventually recalled 82 digits in a row, an achievement scientists had previously declared biologically impossible. 2, you must give the task your complete, undivided focus. Multitasking is the enemy of mastery. The brain only rewires itself during periods of 100% concentration. This is why elite violinists spend 4 hours a day in a practice room with the phone off. Why chess grandmasters will study a single position for 5 hours straight. Why swimmers do the same turn hundreds of times while a coach watches every millisecond. If your mind is wandering to your email, your grocery list, or what you're having for dinner, you are not doing deliberate practice. 3, you must get immediate, accurate feedback. Without feedback, you're flying blind. You need to know within seconds exactly what you just did right and what you did wrong. This is why the best in the world almost always have coaches, even when they're already the best. Serena Williams still has a coach. Yo-Yo Ma still takes lessons. If you can't afford a coach, become your own ruthless one. Record yourself, compare yourself to the world's best, keep brutal logs, and never lie to yourself about your weaknesses. 4, you must constantly step outside your comfort zone. This is the hardest and most important rule of all. Growth only happens at the edge of ability. If the weight feels easy, it's not heavy enough. If the problem feels solvable, it's not hard enough. If the speech feels comfortable, it's not pushing you enough. Discomfort is the price of entry to the next level. The greatest performers treat discomfort like a compass. If it doesn't feel a little scary, they're not on the right path. Miss any one of these 4 elements, and you're just putting in time, not building greatness. Part 3. Your brain is far more adaptable than you've ever been told, and plateaus are almost always a myth. One of the most common excuses I hear is, "I've hit my ceiling." I used to say it myself. Erickson's answer is blunt and beautiful. For almost everyone, the ceiling is imaginary. Consider London taxi drivers. To earn their license, they must pass the knowledge, the hardest professional driving exam on earth. They have to memorize 25,000 streets and tens of thousands of landmarks, and be able to calculate the shortest route between any 2 points on demand. Brain scans show that the hippocampus, the memory center of licensed London cabbies, is significantly larger than that of the average person. Scientists once believed the adult brain was basically fixed. This research, along with studies on blind people developing massively enhanced auditory and tactile regions, blew that idea to pieces. The human brain possesses almost limitless adaptability. Your body is the same. When you first lift heavy weights, your muscles scream. Keep going and they tear and rebuild stronger. When you first run long distances, your lungs burn. Keep going and your cardiovascular system remodels itself. The greater the challenge, the greater the adaptation. As long as you stay consistent and push a little further each time. The next time you feel stuck, remind yourself, what feels like a wall is usually just a lack of motivation or a temporary dip in belief. Your brain and body are begging to be stretched. Give them the right kind of stretch, and they will surprise you with how far they can go. Part 4, the real difference between you and a world-class performer. Mental representations. At the heart of Erickson's discovery is a concept he calls mental representations. This is the game changer most people have never heard of. A mental representation is the intricate mental model you build of your skill, the way you organize knowledge, anticipate outcomes, and intuitively see the right move before you make it. Expert chess players don't calculate more moves than beginners. They recognize meaningful patterns instantly because they have richer mental representations of the board. Expert radiologists don't just stare longer at X-rays, they instantly see anomalies because their mental library of images is vastly more sophisticated. Every minute of deliberate practice is designed to improve your mental representations. The more refined they become, the more the skill feels effortless and almost magical to outsiders. The purpose of all those focused reps, all that feedback, all that discomfort is to sculpt better and better mental models inside your head. Bill Gates once said the biggest difference between people is what's from the neck up. That's exactly what mental representations are. The quality and quantity of the structures in your mind determine how deeply you understand anything, how quickly you learn new things, and how creatively you can apply what you know. The scary flip side, old, outdated mental representations can become prisons. This is why some people read only one genre of books forever, why some professionals do the same job for 20 years and never get better, why we sometimes reject new ideas that threaten our existing models. The antidote is simple and lifelong. Stay hungry, stay foolish, as Steve Jobs said. Keep forcing your brain to build new, more sophisticated representations. That is the true path from ordinary to extraordinary. Part 5, the 4 stages you can follow right now to reach the top of any field. Erickson's research revealed that almost every world-class performer follows the same 4-stage journey. The good news? You can start this journey at any age. Stage 1, spark interest, fall in love. Greatness almost always begins with play. Tiger Woods was handed a golf club at 10 months old and thought it was a bomb. Mozart's house was filled with music before he could walk. Someone, usually a parent or mentor, makes the activity fun and fascinating. As adults, we have to do this for ourselves. Experiment until you find the skill that lights you up, the one you'd happily do even if nobody paid you. Stage 2, get serious, find a coach and accept hard feedback. Interest turns into commitment. This is when you seek out the best teachers, tolerate brutal honesty, and start structuring your practice deliberately. Feedback becomes your lifeline. Stage 3, full commitment. Give the skill the majority of your time and energy. This is the phase most people never reach because it's expensive in time, money, and emotional energy. Elite performers in their teens, or adults who decide to go pro later, often rearrange their entire lives around one pursuit. Family, school, and social life take a back seat. For the rest of us, this simply means carving out the biggest possible block of focused hours each week and protecting it fiercely. Stage 4, break through and innovate. Push the boundaries of the field itself. Once you've reached the top, the game changes again. Now you're no longer just trying to catch up. You're inventing new techniques, new styles, new ways of seeing. You keep building ever more complex mental representations and, in doing so, move the entire field forward. Your new belief system starts today. Here's what I want you to carry with you from this moment forward. There is no such thing as born talent that locks the rest of us out. Deliberate practice, specific goals, plus total focus, plus immediate feedback, plus constant discomfort is the universal key. Your brain and body can adapt far beyond anything you currently believe possible. But the quality of your mental representations determines the quality of your performance, and you can improve them every single day. Anyone willing to follow the 4-stage path can reach a level most people call genius. So pick one thing, one skill, one craft, one instrument, one sport, one language, one art that makes your heart beat faster. Fall in love with it. Then apply the simple but non-negotiable recipe. Specific goals, laser focus, ruthless feedback. Step outside your comfort zone every single day. Stay hungry, stay foolish, stay deliberate. The world is waiting for the version of you that only deliberate practice can create. Go build it.